Orange by R.J. Pratt. I wrote this April 29th, 2011. Orange. Neither warm nor cool, but dry. The naked pads of manuscript feet emit a cacophony of sporadic rhythms. Parched ground is trodden to hard, distinguished ruts, speaking like battlements sculpting right out of the ground. Eons of movement. The sense of impregnable doom drones in my ears. The existence of life fibrillating from my heart defies my hunger for eternal escape. No telling how long I've been here or how many times I've made this barren trek. It's a lonesome valley, despite my many companions. Many strange languages mull around pointlessly, becoming lost in the stagnant air, but the only one I recognize is mutual despair. I briefly wonder if these other naked souls can hear my own, and it is troubling. Like the disbursement of confusing language at the fabled Tower of Babel, each has been assigned as a communication barrier to another, so many remain speechless, while others insist on babbling like drowning brooks, unable to do anything but produce incoherent sound. I hear, but choose to remain silent, for we cannot hear ourselves speak, only the others. There is no sense. I've passed others along with this crowd of fellow travelers, so I know already that both ways are endless. I wonder where we're all going, and what we will find when we get to the shared destination. It's hard to tell where I fall in this moving sea of people. Our pace is not rushed nor leisurely. Just motion pushes us forward. I can tell nothing from the weary faces of those I've passed. There is no sense of lasting satisfaction from where they've been, nor any indication of change in my direction. I use my eyes to grasp for landmarks, changes in the low ceiling of burnt sky, something. Spidering branches from baked trees, so distant from the path they appear like melting twigs, and cast sharp points at odd, jagged angles, as if to puncture the horizon with their spikes. It's difficult to pinpoint a range from here, but a cluster of what is probably a huge rock formation cascades in broken shards down a hillside that goes deeper off this plateau of ground than I can see. All this tells me is that there's their depth much lower than where I am now, almost touching the sky. There is a pool of black mist where the orange meets the nadir of horizon. It's far away, but casts a clear separation between the contrast of colors. I've been studying the sky here. My observation being, there is neither sun nor a single source of light. It's impossible to gauge where the long shadows are coming from and are never changing from our movements. Instead, the shadows walk with us. They're everywhere. The rest of the color is drab, sickly, uninspiring orange, and creates unfeeling rays of nothingness upon all it touches. I have no trouble surmising that this is not a place where life ever existed. It was created with the apparent age of death. It is still aimless, except for the unexceptional line of our animation. The man who walks in front of me is feeble. His legs are bowed, and his hands frozen in knuckled, gnarled knots. His arms barely swinging with the adroit movements. His gait is painful for me to watch. I wonder if there's any age distinctions here, for we're just all souls. But he doesn't move any slower than the rest of us. No one does. There is another man beside me whose beard is drenched with amber particles. His age is indecipherable, and he lacks fluidity of movement as well. He appears to be made of flesh and stone, catatonic yet moving. I hear his garbled voice mumble once in a while. It sounds like he uses words to clear his throat, but I'm not sure. I've looked down and watched his long, narrow feet tromp along beside mine, and noticed how he raises each step high on the ball of his foot, then slams his heel down in a fashion that makes a stomping noise, more than like a slap across this dry expanse. Some feet in this human caterpillar are calloused and seem impervious to the long journey, straight ahead, marching to different beats into the unknown rhythm. It's strange to feel this isolation among so many. All of us men, I feel invisible yet odd camaraderie among them. We've become a working unit, like an army of ants, except one does not appear to have any job greater than another. We are dictated by something greater, something unseen among these invisible men. I wonder if one of these other souls seeks the same confirmation in my presence. Struggling for an answer, plagued by curiosity, hoping to find some semblance of reason by looking at my face, studying my feet, listening to me breathe, needing an indication of remote identity, a goal, a time, anything. I wonder if they can hear my heartbeat now. I've decided that I must be new here. I have little recognition of familiarity of this place. It is vast, yet not much to take in, really. No difference. I've become bored with my still surroundings, and I'm only propelled by my curiosity and consciousness. I can't recall where I'd been before this, only that it wasn't here. At least I believe there was something before this, or I wouldn't be able to make such comparisons. My thinking now comes in staccato bursts of something else, another world, but goes nowhere beyond that. The only tangible evidence of my being now is the coursing of something in my veins and my fleeting ability to think. Bats. We sound like the webbed skin of a million bat wings, flapping in the echo of a cave, working to keep this cracked land from kicking up any movement, anything new to look at. The geriatric man's spine looks like disjointed rows of angry fists beneath thin skin, poised to stretch out and lash to escape their prison. I fall back a step as I realize we are stopping. The front of this human train has reached the liquid darkness. It was no longer a distant line separating the land from the drooping sky. For the first time I feel a coldness, like icy appendages around the length of my bare skin. I shiver, spreading down my neck with tingling ice, then beating down the small of my back and creating frigid rays of sharp tentacles wrapping around my calves. The shadows are not only dark, but they're increasing in number, and they're cold. There are so many of them now. I can hardly see my companions. I can feel them, though, smell their fear, taste terror on my own breath. My senses become acute, and I am struck with a frightening awareness. I'm no longer moving on my own. I'm falling and dizzy. I've been wrong, for this darkness is alive, and is all-consuming with a mind of its own. Black, stark, and raw, touching my trembling skin. Fear is cold as death, and darkness touches my bones, leaving no part of me unscathed from this monster that is greater than I have ever been. I feel the pouring depth replace what was in my veins and ignite my soul with its drenching blackness. I realize then that my heart is clanking against my ribs with the fervor of agitation, rocking my weightless body with its heavy burden. I am oblivious to the sensation of falling now, and I am changing, becoming fluid and melding to become part of this darkness. I feel the rush of soul bodies once again passing me, this time with the inertia of being lifted as they continue to fall. Instead of refining me to become one with the powerful darkness, which seems to have a greater intelligence to encapsulate and dictate the smoothness of this operation, I am cast out of it like slag, dirty after this smelting process. I feel no body surrounding me, hear no skin slapping the ground anymore. I'm now an empty shadow, and must fight for my place back into the line, this time moving the opposite direction from which I came. There is a crowd of bodies coming, gathering to move, while I notice the hollow looks in the faces of stony men, coming the opposite direction as if greeting the unknown. Their faces remain stoic, and some of them are mumbling. Guttural noises escape a selection of lips, and they remind me of idiots being drugged to their slaughter. Human beings are so very weak among us and malleable, I think, as I wrap around the shoulders in my shadow form of a moving man and feel his unfamiliar warmth. I am cold. He is covered in greasy soot from his duty of stoking the orange flames that provide us with limited light, just so we can be seen. His skin is acrid and peeling, and his name is Lazarus. He is from a place called Earth, and he is one of our veteran body helpers. This looks familiar now. I can distinguish all his thoughts and experiences, but I don't care to. The only thing that concerns me now is feeling a part of this true living darkness, that which never dies. I'm comfortable in my world, and have no desire to change it. I have been here forever, and have known my place since the beginning of time. I was created to serve one greater than myself, and I am resigned to do so, for I am now kin to the darkness, and am grateful to the orange, for its coldness reveals me.